Hello. I
Hello,
guess we're back.
season
Um,
two.
it's been a long time.
Yeah,
Um, since I can't remember when we last put up our last episode, but the last time we recorded was what, August 13th?
yeah, if that, right? It's been
Yeah,
a
so it's been a month for us. This
been a.
is this is interesting. I'm Jack, if you don't know,
I'm Eli. This is
and I
Choose
this
the
is
News.
season two. Choose with the news.
So yeah, Jack. A lot has happened since we last
Yeah,
recorded.
we've definitely missed some stuff in the world, but like on a separate note, I am at school. Uh,
Hmm.
it may not look like it because my background is at home right now. I just happen to be home this weekend.
Wow.
Um, but I this won't be the background for me more normally. It will probably be my roommate's desk.
Yes.
So you'll get to see that. That would be nice. Um, but no, so we're planning on think our plan right now is to record one episode a week, try to get that up every Sunday.
Yeah.
Um,
Try.
maybe uh, maybe get some guests. We know like because my schedules, we have to work around three people's schedules, and right now because school is starting, it's kind of like difficult to do that. So it might be a little rough, and we might not have as many guests. So you'll see a lot and hear a lot from me and Eli, which you may like, you may not. But if you don't like it, you should get yourself on the list to be a guest.
Yeah. Comment
Uh,
down below
we,
suggestions.
we would like to have guests on, but again, we have to work around a lot of schedules, so we'll do our best. Um, so just let us know if you want to be a guest.
Yeah.
Also, let us know if you want to see specific topics for us to talk about. I
Hmm.
know some people want to see some things, some people don't want to see other things.
Right. Some
Just
people like it when we talk about ourselves. Others like it when we talk about issues going on in the world. And I think generally we try to do a balance of that. I think this episode's going to be mostly about what's going on in the world around us, just because we've missed so much since we've
we've
last
missed way too
recorded.
much,
Yeah.
way too.
Um,
But I think the break was necessary because what people don't know is that we recorded a bunch of episodes in a row. So like
mhm.
I could have time to like prepare myself and like get to school where I don't
Right.
have to worry about this and do that and like get myself settled in. And we recorded probably like 10, not 10 episodes, but we recorded
Like
like
seven or
seven
eight.
episodes, 7 days straight. And
Hmm.
I was so burnt out. So I needed the break. So it was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
But
Um,
it's also great to be back. I'm excited to do this.
yeah. Uh,
Makes me
uh,
happy. So
let's talk about what I think is probably one of the biggest things to have happened since we last left off, which is Joe Biden announced uh, his VP to be Kamala Harris.
yes.
Yes. And so I think generally the reaction has been good. Like in America, most people, most Democrats at least, have felt like good about that. But there is a little divisiveness, right, Jack?
Well, definitely. I think there's two parties who like don't like the nomination, and obviously that party, one of the sides is going to be the Republicans because obviously they're not going to like any Democratic candidate. But the other side is the more progressive side,
Hmm.
leftist. They tend to see Kamala as sort of a cop figure, which is
Yeah,
which is fair. Um, but of course, there are reasons why Biden chose Kamala as
right.
opposed to any of the other candidates. And I'm not going to like degrade on Kamala. I mean, my opinions are different, but what I like want to focus on is does this increase Biden's chances of getting elected?
See, that's a tough one for me. I think it helped a lot. I think the goal of this was honestly to try to get a lot of women to vote, right? I think
Steve is back.
Steve is back with the light.
Goes. Oh no, it stopped. Just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Continue. Sorry.
I think my opinion is that this was an attempt to get women to vote for him, which is part of the reason why Hillary lost in 2016 was she didn't have a lot, not a lot of women voted for her. And so I think that it's good in that sense. I think that, choosing a woman, choosing a person of color is obviously something that should be applauded for, anyone. Like you said, I don't know if I believe that Kamala Harris is like the end zone of where we should be in terms of like choosing people who we want to run our country. But I think it was a very smart move. I think she is a very good speaker. I think people like there was a reason why she had that huge like spike during when she was running as a presidential candidate, and it's because she is very she's a very good speaker, and she's very I don't know what the word, yeah, she's very forceful, I guess is the word I'm looking
Yeah, I think the big thing that I like take from that is Biden kind of went for a candidate who's like on stage presence is like the exact opposite of him,
for.
which is what you're kind of supposed to do. You're supposed to choose somebody who like kind of reaches a different demographic than you and is
Right.
very different. But Joe Biden is very, laid back, soft spoken, and Kamala is kind of the exact opposite. So I do see where he was going with that nomination.
Absolutely.
But again, another thing I want to talk about is during the initial election when Kamala was running against Biden for the Democratic candidate, she attacked Biden on a lot of on like race relations and like how much he's actually like helped and like also his treatment of women. Like she attacked him on all of this, and now she's like, that was like not real. I was just doing that. But I do think that do you think that she should have like backed off on that, like when she became vice president?
I mean, so I think that everything she said about Biden, not everything, I think that those claims were somewhat accurate. Like he hasn't done a whole lot to help the Black community. Like he's done, he's a Democrat, so like he's done some stuff, but like not as much as I think he claims. And so I thought a lot of what she was saying in regards to that was very true. And so I applaud her for doing that. I think, when she became vice president, she didn't really have a choice. I don't know if it was the right move to do to say like, oh no, I was lying. I think the better move was to be like, I am here to try to help him like get right. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely.
Yes, there's a problem, but he is the nominee and I want to help him like get better at this.
Yeah, I think that's something that like politicians struggle with, in my opinion, is that they say something and then they have hard ways to they like try to find ways to like to back out of that because now they like can't do that for whatever political reason.
Right.
It's kind of like what the Republicans were doing the same thing like when they were running against Trump. I think like Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham both called him like the Antichrist,
right?
Which is freaking crazy. But
I mean, you see him doing it now, right? Like Lindsey Graham in 2016 or whatever was like, quote me when I say that we will not nominate a Supreme Court justice during an election, right? Like,
right. It's just politics is full of a bunch of hypocrisy, and it's a problem. And I there's not going to be much change because obviously the only way that there is change is to nominate everybody, not politicians.
Right.
And there aren't enough. But I do think that there could be some good to come out of the Kamala vice presidency. And this puts her in a great position, win or lose. Whether Biden win or loses, this puts her in a great position to be the next candidate, which is what I think she's ultimately going for. Because obviously she ran this time, lost a bunch of funding, but the next one she'll have like a lot of backing because she's in this more prominent role. And I think that was her ultimate goal.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. But yeah, let's move on to something a little more lighter. Fire. How'd you like that transition?
I don't think that was the word you were trying. I like understand what you're saying, but the tone of it, or like, because like lighter in this sense, obviously, is meaning two things. You're obviously doing lighter because lighter fire, brings light, whatever. Yeah. Lighter, you get a fire, whatever. But the other side of it is that like this isn't the heavy topic.
How about
it's a light topic.
Let's ignite a new conversation.
Sure.
Okay.
That's better. I like
Okay.
that better because like we're gonna be talking about some stuff that like isn't really the lightest. Like,
That's true. Um,
what was the report that came out that said like we had seven years before irreversible damage to Earth or whatever?
right. It basically said we
Uh,
have 7 years until it's the point of no return, basically.
right. Yeah,
Um,
I get that, but like also like there's stuff going on right now that like is pretty bad. Like the stuff happening in like California and Oregon, forest fires and like the orange skies and like stuff. It's like it's bad. So like people have to realize that even though there's irreversible damage or like point of no return in 7 years, we need to focus on getting it done now so we don't ever have to get to that point.
right. That 7 years mark isn't saying like, oh yeah, let's wait 6 years and 11 months before, right? Like, you're exactly right. You look at everything that's happening in the world, right? Things that are happening can be explained through climate change that I don't think people are necessarily thinking is like part of like part of like a as a result of climate change. So like,
Mhm.
right, like you look at these mass food shortages going around the world, or like these droughts, and people are like, oh yeah, it's just one of those things, or the food shortages. People are like, oh, it's a bad farming year, but like it's not, right? It's this pollution and it's this literal warming of the earth that's making it more difficult for plants to grow. It's making it more difficult for people and all living beings to survive. And so it's causing horrible thing, not just natural disaster related.
Yeah, I think right now there isn't enough. I'm trying to think of how I want to phrase it. There isn't enough not only public knowledge but also public action. I
Hmm.
think if you educate the public, action happens after that. So when
Hmm.
people are calling for politicians to do this, do this, do this, that's great. But unless everybody knows or like unless the public is actually educated on this topic, nothing will get done because the politicians will either, continue to go with where their funding tells them to go and they won't listen to the people. And if the people aren't really saying that this is a big issue, which it clearly is, the fact that people are still denying this to this day is absolutely crazy and
Hmm.
horrifying. It's horrifying. And if you actually believe that climate change isn't real and that this is all fake news, a hoax, and that everything will be fine, you are out of your mind.
Right, like Smokey the Bear is like dying of lung cancer right now, right? Like it's like it's not okay, right?
It's not, guys, do you really want Smokey the Bear to die of lung cancer? No, come on,
No.
fix
Well,
up.
yeah,
But
do some research.
there, there's something that needs to happen. And I
Yeah.
think hopefully in the next maybe before the 7 year mark, like maybe like actual change will occur. But it's kind of tough to think that with like half the population not believing in it,
Right.
it how are we actually going to fix
I
it?
mean, it's so easy to feel pessimistic about it all, but what other option is there other than like hope and will, right? I
Yeah.
don't know.
The other thing that's a problem, it's just this isn't just an American issue.
Right,
It's not like
exactly.
America needs to solve this
Hmm.
and like hope everybody else does. It's like as a globe, we need to work together.
Right.
And right now, global our global unity, and not just like America, but like every country, we're not working well together right now.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
without that, we're gonna kill off the human race real quick.
Yeah. And if not by climate change, by robots. Let's move
Yes,
on.
we.
Um, what was our next topic? Oh, right. Uh,
Sorry, this has been a little bit, so we're a little rusty. So we're just doing our thing.
I apologize. That was a mistake on my part. Jack, so did you hear what Trump said earlier this week when reporters asked him if he lost the election, would he willingly do a peaceful transition of power? And he said, I don't want to comment on that. We're not going to
Yeah,
talk
he
about that
said.
until it happens. Like he's
Yeah,
like refusing to
yeah,
talk about if whether or not he will peacefully transition should he lose.
Right. And before like we get into like what if he doesn't, I would like to mention I think this is more of him saying he doesn't want to concede the election before it happens, because like if he does say like, oh yes, I will like do this peacefully if I lose, Biden might be able to take that out of context, maybe create some like propaganda or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
throw him on the bus saying like, oh, like blah blah blah, whatever. I think that answer is more of like a political answer as opposed to him stating that he's not going to transfer peacefully.
Fingers crossed, right?
Hopefully, but there is like I still in my head still a 50-50. I don't think that answer necessarily like dictates what he's going to do,
Mm-hmm.
but there he still might. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. Which is really because no president in the history of, America has, you know, been cooped up in the White House, right? There's always been a peaceful transition of power, since the creation of this country. And so, not only is it like painfully obvious now that like we've elected a lunatic, how how precious, not precious, how fragile our like democracy is, like the fact that one person who refuses to leave a house can like cause all right, like could have the potential to
Yeah.
cause all that trouble. So not only is that scary, but what's like even scarier is that if he does refuse, like I'm not sure if I feel confident enough in the rest of the people to that like he will be forced out eventually. Like I'm not sure if that will end up like
Yeah, because what is it like if he like doesn't do it, like it's up to like the Secret Service and like the military or like the police or something to
right. I
like
mean, like this hasn't like happened before, but like that's like the assumption is that like there would be some like military some military operation.
which is, you know, a little bit of an issue, uh, because I do feel like I don't know the exact like percentages, but the military is definitely more pro Trump
Right.
than Biden or anything, and same with like the police department,
Right.
probably like everybody within that field. So it's kind of scary to think that if Trump does like say that he's not leaving office peacefully, like you have to remove him, like then it comes down to the military saying like, oh, do we respect our institution or our political values? And then you put them in a stance, and I don't know what that would happen. It's all so confusing because we've never seen this happen before, so we don't
Right.
know what's going to happen, and we
Yeah.
can't really predict it. So that's what I think scares me the most. It's so unprecedented that like there really is no
Right.
way like know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And then there's like a question of like, okay, so let's say that, he's like like says that he won't like remove himself, right? And people protest, right? Like police are like 95% Trump supporters. So what's going to happen to like protesters, right? Like, right?
Yeah, it's it's definitely going to be an issue. And didn't the military? I think the military said recently that they weren't going to get involved at all.
Mm-hmm. So,
So I don't. What's going to happen? Like, are we going to have like a Trump versus Biden WWE throwdown or something like that?
honestly, like,
Imagine if that actually happened.
right?
Who would
Actually, I
win?
think Trump would probably win, which would,
Oh, Trump would probably destroy it, but I do think it would be pretty fun to watch.
how does he like Big Macs and sodas like and like all like his diet is like
He's an absolute
horrible.
unit. He's an absolute unit.
He's crazy. Like I'm just baffled by
Yeah,
his diet.
but it's all just scary. Like our world is in shambles right now.
Our world is in shambles, and this is what's happened in the last month that has fallen apart. So
Yeah, I mean, of course we like miss stuff, and like we're not going to cover everything,
right,
but I mean,
and not every
you
episode
know,
will be as I want to say depressing, but like oh no, the world is going
no,
to
every
end type
episode will
thing.
be as
Every
depressing.
episode will be depressing.
Yes,
We're
I
just
think
gonna.
that is where we should go for this season. Is definitely make everything
I like
depressing.
that path. We'll just be playing like like soft and like violent classical music in the background that just like slowly builds up as the episode goes on.
I do think that that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll see where we end up going. The other thing I wanted to talk about with you, Eli, is do you think a cereal is a soup? Because honestly, I still haven't made my opinions on this. I haven't done enough research on this topic, so I don't know. I really don't know.
I think that's difficult. I would call it, well, cereal with no milk is obviously not a soup.
Well,
And so
okay, but
if you
who eats their
define
cereal
like,
without milk? Like
well,
casually.
no, but like what I'm saying, what I'm saying is like the question is cereal a soup? The answer is no, because like cereal on its own is not a soup. But like is cereal and milk a soup? That's when it gets tough, right?
Okay, but when I say cereal, obviously I'm referring to cereal and milk.
Listen, phrasing is everything,
Shut
okay? I'm not
up.
gonna let,
Is cereal and milk a soup?
I think so.
Okay, I don't know what to believe because hold on, I could pull up the definition of
Pull up the
soup
definition. Maybe I'll change my mind.
because that's what my belief was at first. But it's a liquid dish typically made by boiling meat, fish, or vegetables, etc., in stock or water.
Okay, now that makes it a little more interesting.
Right. And
Um,
then the other definition is a substance or mixture perceived to resemble soup in appearance or consistency. And if we're going based off those definitions, I don't think you could classify a cereal and milk a soup.
I understand where you're coming from. I see how it can be, but no, I think I'm still going cereal as a soup.
But I mean, definitions, dude. Definitions.
I understand which part of the definitions you're pointing to. I'm looking at other parts of the definition. So I see like anything that appears to be a soup or something like that, or like,
Okay.
but yeah. So I definitely think it's a soup.
Well, then wouldn't technically like the earth be a soup?
No, because you can't eat the earth. But like ramen, like if
No,
you
no, but you're talking about if it has like the like the same like consistency as a soup and it like looks like a soup. Like what the ocean is a soup then?
well, I think it
It's
has
got
to
all
be edible as well. I think that's
it,
another. Like I think
it's eatable.
I think the
It has to
definition.
be edible.
No, like it has to be like a meal.
You can eat stuff in ocean. It's not
You
like
can't
that
eat
you
the
can.
ocean though. Like that's not how that
I mean, you
works.
can
You
technically.
you can't like grab a spoon and just it's salt water. Like
Okay, that's true. You have to like prepare it, but like
yeah. Uh no, but like I would think
it has to be edible. And it has to look like a soup. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, like we have chicken noodle soup as a soup, which like chicken noodle soup is very similar to like ramen, right? So like ramen is a
But
soup, right?
okay,
If chicken noodle can be a soup, why can't like cereal and milk?
no, but chicken noodle soup like actually has like the broth.
Milk is a broth. Milk is just like a
Is it?
really icky broth.
Is
A
it though?
disgusting. It's not a broth I would use, but like
Imagine eating your chicken noodle soup, but instead
with
of like broth, you get milk.
yeah,
Like that's what it comes down to is
yeah,
like is
exactly.
milk broth. Because if you could classify milk as the broth, then I would say cereal is a soup, but I don't know if you can.
I think you can. Why not? What do words mean?
Okay, I don't want to get into this. Like the words mean what we want them to mean.
No. Or what we assign them to mean.
Exactly, it's what we want.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess
Okay.
that does it for our episode. We definitely, did pretty well on this
Mm-hmm.
one. I think
Yeah,
it
good
will
job
take us a little
us.
bit. It will take us a little bit to get back into it. So I apologize for this one being kind of all over the place. But
Mm-hmm.
we tried.
Yeah.
Um, follow us on Instagram.
Listen
We
to us
have
on
created an
Spotify.
Instagram and on Spotify. We have done both of those for season 2. We are actually prepared this time.
Mm-hmm.
And share it, whatever, like, comment, subscribe, let us know what we do right, let us know what we do wrong,
Mm-hmm.
all that sorts of good stuff.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, that's it. Have a good day.
have a fantastic day, and see you guys later.
Okay.